Ever since I was young, I never really cared much about material items. I was always about experiences. In fact, that's how I raised my son. I didn't buy him presents. I bought him concert tickets and experiences to go do things, because for me, that's what life's about. It's not just collecting stuff. Now, I'm not cutting on people who collect stuff, because stuff is nice too. But for me, I really wanted to get out and do things. How much stuff do you really need? How much space do you really need to live in? And I just don't need that much. I'm Michelle, and this is my tiny home. We are at Namaste Hideaway in Van Alstyne, Texas. I've been living tiny for the last 5 years. Most of that was in a camper, but I've been in this tiny home for a year. The builder of this tiny home is Decathlon here in Texas, and it's 24 by 8. The lot rent at Namaste Hideaway is $550 per month, and that includes water and trash. You pay extra for electrical and internet. For the outside of my tiny home, this summer I'm actually going to build a patio on the front, and I will include a catio or some sort of, outdoor space for the cat so he can get outside and hear the birds. But other than that, I don't have a lot of plans for the outdoors because I feel like it's in such native space right now and I don't want to mess that up. Let's take a look inside my tiny home. Welcome to my tiny home. It's 200 square feet. As soon as I stepped into this tiny house, I knew that it was for me. The layout itself is perfect for my lifestyle because it has everything I need in this small little space. After a year of living in this particular model, I'm telling you what, it's such a huge difference from the camper in that I don't hear the rain like I used to. There's no wind coming in. I don't have drafts coming in. In fact, I can barely even hear the elements unless I look outside, unless it's severe. And it doesn't move. The camper would be moving back and forth. This doesn't have that quality, unless of course the washer and dryer's going. The thing about this kitchen that I really, really love is the fact that it's all in this one little space. I wash, I put everything up here. This was a nice feature. It was already here when I moved in, thank goodness. So I didn't have to try to go find that myself. But it's nice to have the drying rack for your dishes. You don't have to worry about putting that on the counter and taking up counter space. I love the fact that I have the induction cooktop. I've never used one before, so that was a learning experience for me, but it's been great ever since I have been using it. I used to air fry a lot of stuff, but the microwave also includes the oven and the air fryer. So that was such a nice thing. You don't have to have a big air fryer sitting on the countertop as well. As all of us who live in tiny homes know, counter space is pretty important. So the less that you can have on the counter, the better off you are. I love also just the look of the cabinets. I love the amount of cabinet space that I have. It fits everything that I need. I love the fact that I have pots and pans that can hang them up there, which is also good for me. The one thing that I would definitely replace is this countertop. If you can see here, it looks like just from the hard water or whatever it is, it's actually kind of peeling away at the countertop. So I definitely wouldn't have put this countertop in myself if I had made the choice. So at some point I will be replacing this with granite or just as something that isn't going to have that experience. I pretty much cook every meal in the house. I don't go out to eat a lot. I'm trying to, stay on a particular type of diet. So I usually cook in here every single day. I cook everything right here, no problem whatsoever. The refrigerator's really great because I can just pull it out, put it in the pot or put it in the microwave, and I have no trouble with that at all. So the layout of this kitchen is just perfect for what I need. I'm actually from South Dakota originally, which is rare because you don't meet too many people from South Dakota, but moved when I was pretty young. So I spent most of my life in Colorado, but I like to travel. So I have traveled around in my camper, gone to different places, lived in lots of different places, including Texas, Atlanta, California, all over because I really like new experiences. That's what makes me tick and makes me happy. I wanted to be able to work from wherever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. That was the goal. So I made that happen with a job that I had at the time. I told my boss I want to travel and he agreed to it. And then after that, I started my own business. I find it interesting when you work for yourself. You'll work 120 hours so you don't have to work 40 for somebody else is how it always works. But I work weekends, sometimes evenings, but I decide when I work. And that's really, for me, the key to my happiness. I'm a small business consultant, and most of my clients are in the home services. So they're construction, builders, landscapers, HVAC, plumbing, electricians, mostly on that side of it, which is very interesting because, you know, they're very similar. They're usually family-owned businesses, very small number of employees, and they're killing themselves working 7 days a week. And my job is to try to figure out how to make them more automated, more efficient, more productive, so they can actually take some time off and spend time with family and friends and maybe take a vacation. That's the goal. After I got to Texas, I found this tiny home, and I've always wanted to live in a tiny home. I got a great deal on it, and it was fully furnished. Everything in dishes, everything was already in here. So I sold my camper, and now I live tiny. However, I will be buying something very small to travel around when I do go somewhere because, you know, you don't want to stay in people's houses all the time. You want to have your own space. I had a little teeny camper that was smaller than this. So transitioning from a camper to this tiny home, I was like in luxury big time. Plus, it's just, the setup is just nicer than my camper was. If you're wanting to go tiny, I highly recommend you do your research, and then I also recommend that you go do a camper trip. I mean, even if you did a camper trip for a week, it's still not gonna really show you what tiny home living is for a long period of time, but I just think that that is important to do because you don't wanna spend all your money going out and get a tiny home and then realize this is not the right fit for you. I feel like a lot of times people see these tiny homes on YouTube or Facebook or Amazon, these places where you can get a really cheap tiny home. And I just want to caution everybody that those probably are not built well. And that does make a difference depending on where you live. Like, you know, northern Texas where the weather is crazy and we get the thunderstorms and potential tornadoes and all those things. And then also the freezes and the hot weather. You need something robust to be able to live. You don't want something that's built poorly. Decathlon, who built this, they have great quality and I think they do such a good job. And it's very airtight. And so I feel really good about what I have here. Let's go to my bathroom. The thing about this bathroom, and you're just gonna laugh at me because it's the things that are important. In my little camper that I had before, I didn't even have a shower in it. So as soon as I was able to have a hot shower in my own place, that makes a huge difference. And I was surprised at how big the shower is. It's actually a pretty good size for this size tiny home. And so I absolutely love it. I love everything about the fixtures and everything that she had chosen, the former owner. Love every bit of it. It's a nice big sink, and I open the shades every morning so that I can look out. And when I'm brushing my teeth or washing my face, I have a nice view at Namaste Hideaway, so I love that. It has sufficient cabinets for me. There's a nice medicine cabinet here, but everything in there, it all fits nice. That I don't have any areas where I'm like, where am I going to put that? I don't have that issue, which is great. And so to me, it works out perfectly. And I have the combo unit, washer and dryer. The thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't really wash all that well. You know, I think it doesn't have the real significant spin cycle. So it's kind of just pushing the clothes around in there. So I notice when I take things to the laundromat, that it washes it a lot better. So I'm not sure I would pick this particular model again, but that doesn't matter because I've thought about getting a regular washer and then just drying things on a rack or outside and not having a dryer at all because I really want the washing to happen, but the dryer is not as important for me. But other than that, I just think it's the perfect bathroom for me. It's the perfect size. I wouldn't change anything except maybe this. One great feature that I had never seen before is the previous owner had put this up where you can actually pull these out and hang your clothes on it. And you have a nice little space out of the way where you can hang clothes to air dry. And I really thought that was a cool feature that I'd never seen before. The biggest change for me was this bathroom when I moved in because of the fact that I actually have a flushing toilet now, which I didn't have before on my little camper. And I have this big shower. I didn't even have hot water that I actually used in the camper. So I have a hot shower now. It's the perfect size for me. Everything I love about the shower, but the fact that I have a flushing toilet and a washer and dryer is a huge difference from the camper. Here in the middle of the house is my living room / office. When I walked in this tiny home for the very first time, I noticed the pink couch, and I absolutely love the pink couch. It is a hide-a-bed, but this is the funny thing about living tiny that you don't know until you actually do it. The hide-a-bed doesn't open because it's too long. The previous owner probably didn't realize that when they bought it. They were thinking they were buying an extra place to sleep, but you can't open it, and I've tried. On this side, I have this beautiful wood stove, and I know it's weird to have this TV on top of it, but I don't use it except for maybe once a year. So I just have it a placeholder for the TV until the next time I use it. I've used it once since I moved in. I used it a couple of months ago, and it worked fantastic. Perfect amount of heat. I thought I was going to be dying in here with too much heat, but no, it's absolutely perfect. The one thing I did notice, and I actually looked on YouTube and found this out, sometimes the smoke comes in. And that was actually a common occurrence with everybody else who has this model stove. They had the same experience. The other thing too, as far as my office, you'll notice I have this little chair here that I could have a guest sit on and I can move it around. But when I'm ready to work, then I just sit down here, I turn around, I pop up my desk like this. I just put my laptop right here and this is where I work. And then I also love the fact that I can open this up. I can have wind coming in through here. I have a beautiful place to look and I don't have to worry about, staring at a wall, which is nice when you're working at home because I do work at home for myself. So I am spending a lot of time here and it's nice to be able to have a window to look at when I do that. This was actually in the bedroom, which I'll show you in a minute. And I moved this out because I didn't want the desk in the bedroom. I want to be out in the living space. So I relocated this out to the living room. Here at Namaste Hideaway, one of the benefits is definitely the Wi-Fi. And the good thing is that Molly and Chuck, who own the property, Molly works from home. So they have to have good internet to make it work. She understands the importance of having good internet because there are several of us on this property that do work from home. So if there's any issue at all that we've had in the past with internet, she gets it corrected immediately because she does not want that to be a problem. She understands how important it is. And we pay $50 a month for internet here on top of the $5.50 that we pay for lot rent. You can also have your own. And I have a few people on property have Starlink or something else, but we do have the internet here and I've had no problem with it whatsoever.
Do you love camping adventures? I know I do. But skip the gas generator and the pollution with the Gray Cell 240 watt portable power station. Such a convenient cutie thanks to its compact, lightweight design. Can you believe it's only 4.5 pounds? Its shape is extra space efficient, making it easy to stow just about anywhere. With 153.6 watt-hour capacity, it has more than enough power for a camping trip. Its 5 output ports allow you to charge multiple devices simultaneously, including a bidirectional USB-C 100-watt port to rapidly recharge your devices and the power station itself. Conveniently, it can fully recharge in about an hour and a half in the car with a 100-watt solar panel or using AC power. Check out this super handy adjustable LED light. It features an SOS function and 3 lighting modes for reliable light in any situation. Ready to power your next outdoor adventure? Click the link below and get your Gray Cell 240-watt portable power station today.
Let's go to the back of the house to my bedroom. I just want to show this cool door, by the way, as we're going back there. I love this little door. I don't use it a lot because I don't have a lot of company, but if I did, then it's nice to have that privacy. So this is a really cool door, and I've coupled it with the back. I put my jewelry on the back side of it in a little case, so it's nice that you can have every space is utilized. This is my little bedroom. It's the perfect bed for me. It's the perfect size. Of course, the cat sleeps on the bed too, so you can see that very cat-haired bed there. But I love everything about it. I love the fact that they have a little light in the corner that was already there that I can read in bed. This is where the mini split is. The one thing that I've noticed about this is that it would have been nice to have the mini split more central than back in the bedroom. Although in the summer when it's really, really hot, it is kind of nice to have your AC right over the bed. But if we're a little more central, then I think it would provide more efficient heating and cooling throughout the entire place. But you know what? I'm not going to complain because at least I have AC in Texas and I'll take it. The previous owner was big into IKEA, so there's a lot of like IKEA touches. And so this little board right here has a lot of little compartments and things to hang jewelry or whatever you might want. That's a nice feature when you're laying in bed because you can just put your glasses and your phone on this when you're going to sleep. You have these big drawers on the bottom under the bed too, so the space is utilized very well because these are really deep drawers that can put a lot of clothes and things in, which is nice. By the way, the previous owner, this is where the desk was. And they had it so they would lean against the bed or sit on the end of the bed and work on the computer. And they had a big monitor up here. I took that down because that was not efficient for me. I want to be in a living space. This seemed very confined. So I wanted to be in the bigger room to have my desk. And so I took that down and put up these little hooks for clothes and different things like that. I probably will put something else there, but it's kind of strange to have an electrical outlet right in the middle of the wall. But the reason that that's there is because they had their desk and their monitor right there. This little wardrobe here is actually really great too. You know, it'd be nice to have a little more space for clothes that you can hang up, but how many things do I really need to hang up? So that's again, that whole philosophy that like, do I really need that many clothes? Probably not, but sometimes you just get attached to stuff and you keep it for no reason, you know? I love having the living space all on one floor. I like having the bedroom and everything else on one floor. I think the older I get, the better it's going to be to have everything on the one floor. So I really like the fact that the bedroom is this. A lot of the tiny homes I've seen, you have to walk up some steps or there's a lofted bedroom, and I wouldn't want that. I like the fact that it's all on one level. I do have a little loft that somebody could sleep up there if need be. Probably somebody younger, but right now I just use it for storage, and I have a lot of storage up there, and so it's nice to have that space to be able to put the things that I don't have place for. My neighbor has the same model as I do, the Athena model, which is decathlon, and this wall is removed, and her cabinet is next to the kitchen versus in here. So this is one wide open space, and she has a daybed, which makes it look so much bigger. The downside of that is you don't have any privacy, and if you did have somebody come and stay, and you had a place for them to sleep out in the living room area, then you wouldn't have any privacy whatsoever. Maybe that's not an issue, but for me, I kind of like having the wall. It separates my bedroom space from my living space where I'm working, and so I feel like that I'm in a different location when I'm trying to work, and I have my own business and all of that. So for me, I like the wall here, but it does look a lot different with the wall gone. When I was in South Dakota, I was up there taking care of my mom until she passed away. And then I spent another year up there, probably just grieving and things like that. And then I just had this feeling that I needed to get out. And I was getting, hanging out with all the old people, going and playing bingo. And I thought, oh, Michelle, you're in your 50s. You're a little too young for this. So I said, you got to go and do something else. And I'd had this just vision that I needed to go to Texas. I've been to Texas many times. I have family that lives in South Texas, but I'd been here with colleagues in Dallas many times, and I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Dallas. And I was renting a house up there in South Dakota at the time, and within a month, I found somebody else to take over my lease, and I was in the truck and pulling my camper down here. So I made the decision and I was in Texas. I had no plan. I didn't know where I was gonna stay. I just thought, well, I'll find a place when I get down there. And I got down here and realized that because I had an older camper, a lot of places don't take older campers, especially long term. And then I'm like, oh, I came down here and now I have no place to park it. But I went online and I did a search and I found Namaste Hideaway's website, and I called and I talked to Molly, and I think within maybe 5 minutes, I knew that it was the right fit, because Molly, who owns the property with her husband Chuck, is just such an amazing person. We've become very good friends. We go work out together and do things together at this point. But I just knew when I talked to her on the phone that I was supposed to be here. This community, we're on a group together on WhatsApp, so we all share on the WhatsApp and schedule to do things together once a month, whether it be on property or going somewhere else. We're going to karaoke next weekend. I'm kind of the events coordinator here, so I try to come up with events for the property and then I communicate those out. But I just don't feel alone here. Because I live by myself, I just feel like I still have a support system around me. I kind of gave up on the tiny home idea. I just hadn't thought about it in a long time because I got busy, doing life. And when I moved on to property at Namaste Hideaway, I started thinking about tiny homes again because I was around several tiny homes that were here. And I thought, oh, I need to do that. And my camper is a great camper, but it was not that robust and not robust enough for this North Texas weather. And I thought, this isn't going to work. I just about froze to death that first winter because they're just not built for that. There was a tiny home that was maybe 3 or 4 spots down from me, and I'd never seen anybody there. It just so happened Molly said that they were going to sell this. I said, do you mind if I take a look at it? And she said, sure. So I came over here and took a look. And as soon as I walked in the door, again, it's one of those things. I just knew, I'm like, oh my God, I want this place. I feel like it was meant to be, and I had that vision when I was in South Dakota that I was supposed to go to Dallas. I feel like this was the purpose. The universe was like, go to Dallas, it's going to be good for you. And I think that's exactly what happened. I worked a great deal out with the former owner of the property, and in fact, it's probably one of those unheard of deals that you never ever get. She's financing it for me, no interest, and she paid off her loan so that, we could make sure that the deal was gonna work out, so that I wasn't paying her and she, I'm a very cautious person, so I made sure a lawyer looked at it, we drew up a contract and all those things, but made sure that the deal, that I was protected in all scenarios. If she passes, if I pass, every scenario possible, I made sure that the deal was going to be legit. And $83,000 is what I agreed to. And again, that's fully furnished and everything. And then again, no interest. And so I pay it every month, and I pay a pretty big amount every month because I want to pay it off faster. And so I just transfer the money to her bank account from mine every single month, and it's been great. No issues whatsoever. It's as is, so I can't really make big changes to it without her permission until I own it. But, you know, something breaks down, it's my responsibility. And if for some reason I decide that I don't want to continue to buy it, I can get out of it, but that means all the money that I paid thus far I lose, and it's like paying rent. For me, I think the main benefits of tiny living just feel like there's a sense of freedom. I can't think of the quote by Shirley MacLaine, the actress, but she said, the more stuff you have, the more time you have to spend protecting that stuff. And you have to put it places and do all these things and have someone secure it and all that. I don't want to live like that. To me, it's about what really matters, and what matters to me is experiences, life experience, and having fun. And I think that you realize when you get older is that it's not really about how much time do I have left, but how do I want to spend it.
Thanks for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian, and this is our DIY tiny house on our homestead in Oregon.
Looking for more tiny inspiration? Watch these videos. But if you're looking for something specific, visit our channel homepage to browse tiny homes by category.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Hope to see you soon.